So, this is my first one on Zoom. I've done Google Meet a bit. I'm liking the format on Zoom a bit better. So forgive me if I'm a bit funny with the buttons, but I'll get there. All right, cool. So we're going to talk tonight about how you can take your coaching business from 0 to 10K per month in 90, got 90 months or less, but it's 90 days or less using the lead explosion method. And so how you can get the most out of tonight. The first thing, we don't want any distractions. So if you've got like heaps of tabs up, or you're on your phone or you're watching telly in the background, I'm going to be giving you heaps of info. So I don't want you distracted because you're going to get lots of value. So grab a pen and paper because there's going to be heaps of info. I don't want you to miss anything. Also, play full out. Please don't be a ghost. Be an active person. There's nothing worse than the feeling of talking to yourself on a webinar or feeling like you're talking to yourself and you just see glazed eyes. So I'd love active participation, and the more active you are, the more I'm going to give you, if that makes sense. And yeah, like I said, take lots of notes. That's okay, Monica. My kids are in bed, which I'm happy with. So hopefully they won't be bothering me. Like I said, love engagement, love comments, love feedback on what you're loving. And the more engagement, the more I'll share. Awesome. Well done, Rajith. Hungry and committed coming from America. I love that. Um, so write in the chat box, use that, I'll answer. And I've got a Q&A at the end as well. So you get a chance if anything pops up that you're not sure of to answer at the end. Cool. Going to give out lots of prizes tonight. I love giving out value, so I'm going to give out lots of prizes. This one is super easy to enter. So for this one, all I need you to do is to take a photo of yourself at some point watching the webinar, tag me in it at @russell.gilbertcoaching on Instagram in your story, and I'm going to randomly pick someone to give away $1,500 worth of prizes tonight, which is exciting. So cool. We'll get ready to start. So, is this training for you? If you want a systemized process that's going to grow and get 30 to 50 leads every month, this is for you. If you maybe people are ghosting you in Messenger and you're not sure why, for you. If you're having trouble getting people to buy from you, for you. And if you're just not making the money you want your business, this is for you as well. Well, also, if you suspect that you don't have your niche clear and you're not ready to grow, this is for you. If you don't know how to market your brand, if you're not sure about that, if you want to get rid of self-sabotage, maybe that's been holding you back, or you've tried a lot of things and it's not working, this is also going to be for you. What this is not for, action takers. If you're not an action taker, you're not going to get much out of tonight because the universe rewards action. You know, if you're just one of those people that sits back and dreams but doesn't do anything, you're probably not going to get much out of tonight. Let's be honest. If you're already making over 50K a month in your business, this isn't about scaling. So this probably isn't for you. If you're not a coach or you've got no desire to be a coach, not for you, or you don't need more leads in your business, or you don't want to help people, this isn't for you. Okay. So before we get started, I want you to have a think. What would your business look like if you had a consistent, predictable stream of new leads who were really eager to work with you so that you can just focus on delivering results and doing the coaching, which, let's get straight. That's what we all got into this for. We didn't get into it for all the other BS. Who's with me on that one? Raise your hand if that's you. If you didn't get in it for the BS, you got in it for the coaching. That's me 100%. So have a think about that because that's what I'm going to help you create tonight, the systems to do that. And we're going to break it down exactly how that's going to work. Or who spends time worrying about where their next client's coming from? That used to be me a lot. I'd spend a lot of time feeling anxious about that. And I'd be so anxious about that that it would hold me back from doing stuff. Or I would just be worried and then I'd be projecting stuff out. And then when I had a sales call or whatever, I sounded really desperate, which wasn't cool either. So cool. So what we're going to cover tonight, you're going to learn how to effortlessly generate 30 to 50 leads. We want you to become the authority in your niche and have people reaching out to you to book a time to speak. I've got some messenger chat sequences and a formula that'll help get prospects on a call with you. And I've got a really clear path on how you scale to 10K in 2 months or less, which is going to be great. So what makes this webinar different? I'm not selling you anything. I'm not going to ask for your credit card details. That can all stay away. I just want to show you some stuff that's going to help you grow your business. Okay. However, if at the end of this, right, you enjoy the stuff so well that you'd like me to personally help you implement these strategies, I'm going to offer a few free one-on-one business calls with myself. And so if you're interested in that, you can type success into the chat and my team will give you a link to reserve the spot. Only if you're interested. But I've got a limited amount of those available. So if you think that might be you, it's best to get in early to make sure you don't miss out. Because early people who write success or book it early will get the chance to do it. People who don't may miss out because I've only got a limited amount of spots. So if that's you, success in the chat. Now, Kai is someone I worked with. So Kai, a little bit about me. I used to be a teacher, right? I was a teacher for 15 years. And when I first started, I was coaching teachers and I still do coach teachers. I've got a Facebook group who I coach teachers in. And Kai's a teacher and she's a coach. And so Kai had experienced a little bit of success in her coaching business, but it was really slow going and she had lots of doubt about whether she could go full time. She was really stuck on how to take it to the next level. She was good at posting, had an audience, but didn't have any systems or consistency in how to follow up that audience. I was able to show her exactly what she had to do to take it to the next level. And we did this through identifying what internal blocks she had that was stopping her from taking action. And in the first month working with me, she made 13K. And now clients are coming to her because of her systems rather than her seeking them out. Her coaching business is expanding rapidly. She has a wait list. She got invited to speak to Positive Impact magazine in the US, which is just amazing. So she never dreamed her coaching business could blow up like that, which is great. So big, big, big effort for Kai, which was fantastic. So she's just one of the people who've used these systems successfully. Now, I've spent a lot on myself because I believe the best investment you can make is in yourself. And after spending $60,000 on my own development in the last 2 years, I've discovered a few things. Firstly, it's possible to get to 10K a month. And then it's even possible to get to 50K a month in less than 4 months if you've got the right things. So first of all, you need to find the right niche. So that's who your target market is. The right scalable programs and a proven organic lead generation system. However, most coaches don't have the right niche or it's not scalable. They don't have scalable programs and they struggle to get enough leads to fill their calendar. And so we're the only people dedicated to solving this particular problem in a proven, detailed, step-by-step way, specifically for coaches. So also, I like rewarding people for sticking away to the end. So if you do stick around to the end of this training, I'll know you're committed for the success of your business and your clients. And I'll offer a free gift that's worth $330 to triple that speed so you can reach 10K. I'm in a very giving mood today. I believe in value, value, value. You've got to give people lots of value. So firstly, I'm going to ask some questions. Does this sound like you? You can put like you can say me in the chat, or you could just put your hand up because I can see quite a few of you. You don't have a system to generate leads on demand. Is that anyone? Or you rely heavily on word of mouth. And sometimes that's good, but it's very limited. Like there's only so many people who can tell you that. Or you don't know what to say on a sales call to convert people without being salesy. That was 100% me. 100% me. Being a teacher, I'd never had to sell anything apart from the concept of doing your maths homework. Who wants to buy that though, eh? Nobody. So I was terrible at sales. Is that anyone in here? It was definitely me. I was all of these things I had to say, like I had no idea. It was terrible. How about this? You're not 100% clear on your niche because you just want to help everyone. That was me. I thought, I don't want to exclude anyone. I want to help anyone, like everyone who comes to me. But by doing that, I wasn't actually helping anyone. Or you don't have accountability. So you take really inconsistent action on your business or the things that bring in clients. So one day you might go at a bull at a gate and then the next day you're burnt out and worn out. And so you take the day off or, it's really unpredictable. Or you underprice your services, so you don't see the value in yourself or don't believe they're worth it, or you're not really confident that you can get the results you're after. Does that sound like anyone? Sounded definitely like me when I first started, because I know what it's like. So I'll tell you a bit about me, and then you can see that I was just like that, right? So I'll tell you a bit about my story. So that this this photo is really embarrassing. That's actually a 2 litre bottle of beer. And I used to homebrew and I used to have 76 liters of beer on tap in my backyard. And on Friday nights, I used to drink up to 5 liters of beer and on Saturday nights as well. And I was actually a primary school teacher for 15 years and I worked in a really low socio-economic school. A lot of kids traumatized, parents were in jail, domestic violence. It was tough, right? And so I did that for 4 years and I was completely burnt out. And then I got offered a leadership job there and I thought, woo, $30,000 more money. But it was tough. I was doing like everything, like timetabling, um, behavior management between 9 and 3, and then all my admin outside of school hours. We didn't have a deputy, so it was like tons and tons of work, and I was just completely burnt out. I was looking after teachers, I was looking after kids, I was looking after parents, and it was just a nightmare. And you guys will know because you're coaches, right? I thought if I could just move to another school, then it would solve all my problems. Do you reckon it solved all my problems? No, I just brought all my fear patterns and everything else with me to my other school. And it just got to a point where I was just like, shit, I need to do something. I need to change, or, I'm going to drink myself to death, basically. Like, and like some of the experiences I had at my old school were so traumatic. Like, we had this 6-year-old little boy who died at school from an asthma attack. So it was horrible, you know? And so I was just completely burnt out. And I had 2 young kids, and I remember them sitting on the floor. I was sitting on the floor, sorry, and my son was playing, and he was like, Dad, can you play with me? And I just had nothing left. Had nothing. I couldn't even like talk to him. I was just so worn out and burnt out. But anyway, that was me. And I had zero experience on sales or business. And so I did the training as a coach and I came out and I knew nothing. I knew how to help people and I knew the tools I had were fantastic and I had a passion, but I didn't know what to do because nobody had taught me anything about my business. And so I just post all this random stuff and I would just hope that people would kind of message me or say they wanted to work with me, and nobody would. And I'd taken this year of leave without pay, and I was kind of telling myself that, oh, well, if it doesn't work out, I can go back to teaching. And I got about 3 months in and I hadn't really signed anyone. And I was like, shit, I need some help. I need to talk to somebody who's done what I've done. Oh, sorry, who's come from nothing but is doing what I want to do. And I had like no money. I'd spent it. We had a mortgage. My wife's a relief teacher, so work wasn't sort of stable. And I was just like, shit, but I borrowed money off my mum, which wasn't, that was very hard to do. And then I invested it in getting a business coach, and I went from having one client in my first 3 months of coaching to within 6 months consistently hitting 10K per month, and which was great. And then from there, my business coach who I was working with, we'd do all these group coaching sessions. And because I had this experience working in systems in schools, doing all the admin and being really efficient with that, he was actually saying to me, oh, and lots of the other coaches were coming to me on the group call saying, Russell, how do you do this with your systems? Russell, how do you do that with your systems? And my coach actually said to me, Russell, you need to stop coaching these teachers and start coaching other coaches because your systems are amazing, which was a kind of kick up the pants I needed. And then that allowed me to resign from my permanent teaching job, which was amazing. So give it up for that. Woo!
Um,
So, so that's my story. But why are the majority of coaches failing to earn 10K per month in their business? I just want you guys to know it's not your fault. You're not taught when you do a coaching course how to market yourself, and most business coaches and most business courses don't give you a proven system to follow to generate leads and pay clients. It ends up costing you time, money, and you're left with empty promises. And most of us haven't had the breakthrough around money. or around business or around scarcity, because we've all got these beliefs. You guys are coaches, you know, the imposter syndrome, the knowing our own value, the knowing how much we charge, our beliefs around sales, our belief around money. And so you haven't had that work and you haven't awakened your purpose with that, and you haven't unleashed that hunger inside of you that's relentless to succeed. And also, most of you have been taught to focus on the wrong thing at the wrong time. Like I remember thinking I needed a website. And so I spent ages building this website, hoping people would come and click on it. Nobody did. Or I thought I needed business cards. Who's ever called someone off a business card? I mean, I never have. I get them and toss them in the bin. But I thought I needed one, you know? So we do, and they're low money making actions that keep you stuck. Or I'd spend all day on Canva pretending to be a business owner. Who's done that? I used to spend hours on Canva making sure all my logos and banners looked good. That wasn't making me any money. It was like a hobby, you know, trying to feel busy and good about myself. And so as a result, the majority of us don't have a plan to achieve 10K per month, and you haven't reverse engineered a step-by-step process of what needs to happen to achieve your goals. And that was a massive breakthrough for me, because I wanted to make 10K per month, right? But I didn't know how I was going to get there. I hadn't looked and worked out the steps I needed to get there. And that is massive, because if you don't know the steps to get there, how are you going to get there? What actions are you going to take? And so who here has got a reverse engineered plan of how they're going to get to 10K per month as a coach? If you do, write yes in the comments. If you don't, write no. No judgment, nothing, because I never had one. All right. And I'd never thought of it. I love this honesty in the thing. Not many people have. Well, if you get nothing from tonight, this is one very important thing. You need to reverse engineer your plan 100%. And so, just quickly before we get on to this, I want you to think about, because we want to drive motivation to get this happening. So one of the things I thought about, which really drove me, is what are the negative consequences emotionally, financially, in my health, relationships, family life, the social causes I want to support because I only had enough money to just get by, for not having a reverse engineered plan to achieve your goal. So you can write some in the chat, but here are some of these that I had. It was causing me a lot of pain to stay stuck in my teaching job. A lot. I knew I was destined for more and better. There was a sense of loss around what could have been. Like teaching, you don't get any freedom. You're completely trapped. Like I had to ask permission to go to the toilet. Like it's terrible. And I even get toilet anxiety now before I present a Zoom or whatever, because I'm used to being programmed to ask to go to the toilet. It's terrible. So never having freedom was a big pain point for me. Also, I could never see my kids' sports days or anything because I was working. Every holiday I took had to be in school holidays, and they're the most expensive. And they're not even holidays. I won't get started on that. I had tons of fear. Like starting a business is probably one of the scariest things you'll ever do. Who agrees with that? Because that's where you find out who you are, is stepping into the fire, you know? It's it's giving you anxiety, worrying about paychecks. You know, you could be depressed about stuff not working. You can't take your family on holidays. Or the regret of never having a proper go in your business. I know that was going to be my big one if I had to go back. Living in a place where you feel like you're not happy with, not having a legacy or anything to pass on to your kids. You can't afford to look after your health. That was me. I was never going to the gym. I was never doing anything. I was never looking after myself. Or you're stuck in a job or forced to get a job you hate. So if you haven't reverse engineered your goals, this could be it for you. And achieving 10K per month as a coach is about having a clearly defined niche, expert copywriting skills, rock solid program, and building an organic lead generation machine that allows you to choose the hours you work and get paid changing people's lives. Who is up for that? Who's up for that? Yes. All right, so let's get into the training. I want to show you a simple way you can generate consistent niche specific leads, get them on a sales call, and then sell them your coaching. Because I didn't know any of that. I just kind of thought people would reach out to me and say, I want to work with you, Russell. And I'd be like, cool. but nobody did. And so, did you know that the average life coach only makes $30,000 a year? Or that 80% of Australians go broke in retirement and will be on the pension and they want to raise the retirement age to 70. I mean, that's just bullshit. Anyway, the other thing is 50% of coaches are going to quit within the first year, or 80% are going to quit by the 5th year, and 96% are going to quit by the 10th year. And that's because they don't have those systems in place, and it's hard work, and they burn out and they go back to the safety they had in a job. Okay. And the next thing is your chances of unemployment in a variety of industries are increasing year on year. Does anyone know why? It's that thing coming on the internet called AI. It's taking away jobs. So it's going to take away construction work. There's going to be robotic bricklayers. There's going to be robotic self-driving cars. There's going to be McDonald's and those sort of places are going to be doing robots to precisely make the food. Surely they'd be better than those teenagers. Surely. They might be able to make a burger look like the picture. Farmers are going with AI. Accounting's all done through software or the tax app. Waiters and waitresses, because you can invest once in a robot, or delivery jobs. All of those are going to go with AI, and that's just the start. And so if you want to have control, being an entrepreneur is a great way to do that. And also, the coaching industry is the second fastest growing industry in the world. Isn't that amazing? And that's because with more job displacement and with all those other things like COVID, there's less human connection in our world. There's more personal issues, getting triggered all the time. The need for coaching is not going away. In fact, the need for coaching is growing every day. And people are realizing that traditional psychology isn't hitting the mark. And so that's why coaching is the second fastest growing industry in the world. So you guys are in at a good time. So step number 1 is you need to post niche specific content on your social media pages and in groups. So that's really important. So, excuse me. The concept's really simple, and and I'll talk about this more in the next one. Firstly, you need to use, if you know who your target market is, right, it allows you to find where they are. So I'm going to use a fishing metaphor, and I love this metaphor. So if you don't know fishing, you will still be able to understand it perfectly, don't worry. Right. If I'm fishing for whiting in Australia, which is a nice eating ocean fish, right? Am I going to go fish in the Murray River? No, because whiting don't live there. And so when my niche was teachers, I'm going to go to where the teachers live, which is the right fishing spot. And that's the first part of it, finding where your target market is. And you don't want to just find one fishing spot, because what happens if that fishing spot runs dry? You want multiple fishing spots. So firstly, you need to find where your target market hangs around on. So is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Is it LinkedIn? Is it TikTok? Is it YouTube? Or is it any other one of those places? Step 1. Then where do they hang around on those apps? Step 2. Next, you need to get your bait right, which is your content. And you want content that educates your audience to show you're the authority in that space and gets people interested in your services. So when I'm talking to teachers, I use really specific teacher language, and they're like, wow, Russell understands me. He's speaking my language. That instantly raises you in their eyes as being an expert, because you are speaking their language and talking their talk. Does that make sense? So who wants to go? Oh, look, I'm getting ahead of myself. Then once you've got your bait right, you need the system to reel them in. And that's with some sort of bridge that's going to get from your content to talking about your program. Okay. We'll talk about that shortly. And then lastly, you need a script that allows you to build a genuine connection and make the sale. And I'm going to show you that also. And that's using the net to get them into your boat. So like I said, It's just like fishing. Find the pond full of fish you want to catch, which might be a Facebook group, might be on Instagram, might be LinkedIn. Cast your line with a bait the fish want to eat. No point putting like a no point putting a piece of bread on your hook if whiting don't eat piece of bread and that's what you're after. You've got to get the right bait, which is your good content. And then you need to reel in the fish that bite. So yeah, that's so what I used to start doing was I'd start doing general posts on my social media, and I would just be going for a general target market and not getting anyone. I got really low engagement and it was sporadic. Some people would like it, some people wouldn't. I get a low interest in my message. People weren't resonating with it. It didn't influence them. It wasn't really making a difference. And I wasn't really getting any leads and I didn't stand out. So yeah, I am suggesting not one main message, but being really clear on who your market is and targeting their top 3 pain points. So you've got to work out who your market is, if that makes sense. So instead of just doing that general stuff, posting niche specific content on social media that's got high engaging copy that will influence people. And if you're doing that well, the new result for that will be that it creates high engagement on your posts and positions you as a high value brand. You stand out at your target market. It really resonates with your target market. They feel like you're speaking directly to them and they get more content because everyone's putting out general posts. Like there's millions of life coaches out there. But if you're really specific, then you're the expert in that field and people feel like you're talking directly to them because you know them. You're talking their language. You get known as the only trusted authority in your niche that people should buy from. You get a much higher number of leads to sell and much higher quality of leads to sell because they have the problem you solve and your following grows at a faster rate. So I'll give you, yeah, I create all the copy myself. So all my posts I write myself. I believe I don't outsource copywriting because copywriting is one of the highest value things you can do. And people don't buy ChatGPT, people buy Russell. People buy my story, people connect with me. And if other people are writing it, they're not going to connect with me. Does that make sense? So that'd be something I wouldn't outsource. Other people do, that's fine, but I don't believe in that. So I'll give you a couple of examples. Think about a restaurant. And if you're thinking about a restaurant, an empty restaurant, if you walk past a restaurant and nobody's in there, would you think that was a high value restaurant or a low value restaurant? It's a low value restaurant, right? Because if you see a full restaurant, you're like, wow, that must be good. Lots of people go there. And then, right, if you see the restaurant, and if I talk about how good the food is, right, and you might read just how good the food is generally, you might be like, oh yeah, that sounds all right. But some of you might be vegans, some of you might be meat eaters, some might be pescatarians, some might be vegetarians. And if you're a vegetarian and I post about like vegetarian food, do you reckon you'd be more likely to read that or more likely to read something about a general meal or a special vegetarian meal? You'd read about the special vegetarian meal. And then if I showed some social proof of people loving my vegetarian meals, what do you reckon that would do? It would build trust for people. So that's why using niche specific stuff's good. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples in a sec of posts I've done that have been really good, engaging posts. So here's an example of where this has been done really well. And this post took me less than 20 minutes to write because I used one of the proven templates I've created. And these 2 posts alone got 80 people into my Facebook group and they're responsible for $9,000 in sales. Just these 2 posts. How good's that? And so let's have a look at the headlines. Because remember, my niche is teachers. And people always say to me, Russell, if I just help teachers, I want to help everyone. And I say, yeah, I was the teacher coach. That was my niche. I still worked with nurses. I still worked with doctors because they resonated with the pain points that I had. Teachers have stress, burnout, overwhelm, lack of boundaries. Do you think other people will resonate with that? Yeah. But teachers resonated with it more so And then other people as well. Like when you're fishing for whiting, you might not just catch whiting. You might catch some other delicious fish as well. I'm hardly going to say, I'm not going to help you because you're not a whiting. Of course, I'm going to help them. So if you've got good content, it's going to resonate with people anyway. So I've helped people from all sorts of jobs, even though I was a teacher coach. Now, so let's have a look at these headlines. They're really specific for teachers. It's time to end Sunday sadness and retake your Sunday nights. And I knew as a teacher, I suffered a lot of anxiety on a Sunday night. And that resonated really well. And you can see 379 likes, 40 comments. That's good engagement. Another one, the number one mistake I see teachers making when setting boundaries. Really specific. People go, oh, I wonder what is that number one mistake? They get heaps of value from that post. 388 likes, 25 comments. So really teacher specific, really good content, really resonates. So that's the first step, niche specific content. The next step is called the connection message formula, because there's no point once you've got the good content, not having a way to get anyone who's liked or engaged in that post. And the way I always think about it is if I've stopped the scroll enough for them to like or comment on my stuff, then it's okay to reach out to them and just say, hey, thanks for liking my post, and start a genuine conversation. Does that make sense? And that took something to get over. And this is the part where people can get triggered as well, but I'll go into that in a bit, because this can be quite triggering reaching out to people, because it brings up all our fears of rejection and failure and everything else. So after you've got your prospects interested in you, your next goal is to basically get them onto a call with you where you can talk to them, help them, give them some value, and then get a chance to talk about your program. And to do this, you just need to follow my proven messenger chat sequence template. And this chat sequence is based on social psychology principles that cause people to gain rapport and trust with you. Excuse me. Now that I'm not talking in front of a class all day, my voice isn't as good as as it used to be. And so when followed, word for word, this chat sequence can get people on a call in just 4 messages. Because once you understand these psychological principles, you'll start to notice them used by the world's biggest brands and most influential people. And you can even use these sequences to reach out to people you could benefit from your service. And this is where it becomes super powerful. And so you look at their profile, and if they're your ideal client, you can reach out to them. And some people tell me, look, I don't want to harass people. I don't want to harass people either. But underlying that is just the fear of their judgment, or you not believing in the value of what you sell. Harassing someone is someone from an outside country calling you with information you got from someone else without their permission. Does that make sense? And spamming. Just asking someone to connect isn't harassing someone, because they can say no and you say no worries. Does that make sense? And so you need to understand the social psychology principles so people respond to you and you don't get ghosted. Who here has got really spammy messages from people and you're like, I'm not even going to reply to that person because it's just awful. Or they don't even say hello and they just start selling you something. I hate that. I absolutely hate that, and I don't reply to it because nobody's going to buy from you doing that. We're people. We like conversations. We like talking to people. And so the old way is you're either doing what I did at the start, you're waiting for people to message you about your program and you're hearing crickets. Or you're you're doing the spammy way where you're inboxing strangers and people you know on social media, and people are getting annoyed with you and they're ghosting you. And you get the old result, which is you get a low number of book calls or leads if you get any, and the ones you message don't respond to you. And when you do, get people's phone numbers, you're just not making sales. And through the Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you can chat sequence those who engage in your content in a way that builds genuine trust and connection with them and influences people and causes them to buy from you on the phone or even without a phone. And so then the new result from that because you're actually generating way more leads, making more sales, and getting more paid clients. Who wants to see the formula? Anyone interested in me showing you the formula? If you've got a pen, get ready, because this is gold. Okay, so step number one, someone engages in your content. Firstly, you thank them for engaging in your content. Say, hey, Brett, thanks for liking my post. I really appreciate it. Glad it resonated with you. Bam, that's it. And then they'll say, no worries. I liked it. And you might ask them an opening question like, what particularly resonated with you? Or what did you enjoy? Or what did you find interesting? And then they might answer. And you say, do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions and I'll see if I've got something I can send you to say thank you? And most people will say, oh yeah, it sounds great. And then you might say, oh, what are your goals over the next 6 to 12 months? And what top challenge are you dealing with right now? And they'll tell you. And then you relate and validate. And then if you think you can help them, you say, hey, would you like to jump on a free 45-minute call with me? And we can go over that. And I can give you some tools and strategy to help. How does that sound? Is that spammy? Or does that sound okay? Sounds all right? Or if you ask them the question and they're a bit of a cold lead, you could invite them to your Facebook group instead. And then they join, you give them a free piece of value content, and then they build trust that way. Both are a winner. How does that sound? Sounds better than those spammy, disgusting messages you get from people. And yeah, once you get that formula working, you'll find there's a really clear pathway. I call this the bridge between your content and your program, getting people to work with you. Who thinks they can give that a go? Write in the chat if you reckon you can message more people. Because if you don't talk to people, you're not giving them the chance to say no. But you're also not giving them the chance to say yes. Okay, awesome. I want to ask you a question now. And the sales part for people is really triggering because we're told our whole lives sales is wrong, aren't we? I was told by my parents, salespeople are snake oil merchants. Shows the date of my parents. Or it's wrong to make money. Or like people get scammed off the internet. You know, there's so many negative beliefs about there. But I want to ask you a question. What if you were so certain that people would buy your program? Would you call them or would you not? So the first thing you need to do is let go of caring if they buy or not. Okay? Because if you don't give them the opportunity, they can't buy. Does that make sense? And I've worked with people who I'd prejudged as thinking they didn't need my help, but they actually did. And that was my judgment, not theirs. And so if I didn't reach out to them, give them the opportunity, then I'm actually not helping them the best I can. Does that make sense? It's not up to me who needs my help. It's up to other people who needs my help. All I can do is offer, and if I don't offer, it's not fair. Does that make sense? So when you're doing sales, you need to think of those taxi drivers in Denpasar Airport who's been to Bali. I haven't been to Bali, but I've been to like Morocco and Tunisia and a few places like that. And you think about the drivers. Do they care if you say no when you ask them to jump in their taxi? No, they don't care about rejection. Some of them will even try and tackle you to get you in the car because they believe in the value of what they sell. So what you want to do in your mind is frame yourself like a Bali taxi driver at Denpasar Airport and go out and rejection for lunch because it's good for you. And every no you get is one step closer to the next yes. Okay. But if you don't ask, you won't get. And I know that's hard and can be triggering, but if you don't ask, you're not going to get. Okay. Well, Gone one too many. Let me just go back up, back up, back up. Okay. So once you're on a call, what do you do? I mean, to be honest, I was petrified of sales. Absolutely petrified. I didn't know what to do. And so I'd get there, and sometimes I didn't even pitch my program or talk about how much it cost. I was so scared. It was terrible. Who's done that? My throat would like dry up and I couldn't talk about money. And it wouldn't matter if my program was 50 cents, I couldn't ask for it. And so it was just terrible. And so once you get them on the call with you, it's time to make the sale. And this is where the value is created. All right. And all coaches, most coaches hate sales calls when they start out. And that's because they don't know what to say, or you don't believe in the value of what you sell, or you're not certain they'll buy, or you feel like an imposter, or you don't have the runs on the board, or you've been doing a lot of pro bono coaching. And so you've trained yourself not to ask for money. And so this is why I created a word for word script for coaches to follow that builds rapport, demonstrates how your coaching can solve their problems, and makes your service the next logical step. Who wants to find out more about that? Hey, great. So when done correctly, it doesn't feel like you're selling, but rather that you're solving their problem with your solution. So you're not all sleazy and slimy and pushy. You're getting them to be problem aware, and then your solution, your coaching, is solving the problem. And so the highest way you can serve somebody is by them being your client, because you guys have experienced a transformation and change, and you couldn't have done that unless somebody had sold something to you. And so when done well, oftentimes a prospect will be asking how they can get started before you even tell them the price. And the script positions your service in a way so money is no longer an objection, even if your services are priced high. And when I first started, geez, I thought $1,500 for 6 weeks was high for a coaching package. So it's all about your mindset. You have to frame it that your coaching will be worth more than you're charging and will benefit the prospect. And it's your responsibility and duty to make the sale. Does that make sense? And so I've helped people that have completely let go of anxiety, and they've had that anxiety for 40 years. And for that, it costs them $2,000. Who thinks over 40 years worth of anxiety, if you can get rid of that in 6 weeks for $2,000, who thinks that's good value? Yeah, it's incredible value. And so I remember pitching to that person, and in my mind, I was thinking, shit, $2,000 is a lot of money. And she just said, if you can get rid of my anxiety, that is cheap. And that blew my mind. It blew my mind. And she almost couldn't wait to give me the money, even though in my head, I was like, shit, that's expensive, you know? And the other thing I just want you to note as well is this script is really powerful, and it should only be used on prospects who would benefit from your services. So you just got to make sure you use it ethically. I don't sell to people I don't think I can help. So if I got on a call with someone and I don't think I can genuinely help them, I'm not going to try and sell to them. I value myself and my services, and I value my reputation and my business and my ethics. On that, I only want to help people that I can help, if that makes sense. So the old way is you either avoid sales calls, you don't do them so nobody finds out about your great product, or you do the pushy salesy calls and turns people right off, they get their back up, or you're Mr. Nice Guy or Mrs. Nice Girl on the phone and you don't want to offend anyone, and then you don't want to ask for money, or you don't want to do this, or you don't want to do that. Or if someone says, oh, I don't have the money, but they've actually got it sitting in their account, they just need to get past a quick story, you know, you let them off and then you don't actually help them. And so the old result is if you avoid the calls, you get no sales and you're not going to get clients. If you push too hard, you're going to upset people. If you're too soft, you buy into their objections and you make few sales. And unfortunately, as a coach, we need to challenge people, because if they stay where they are, they're going to have what they've always had. The only way you can do something different is if you do something different. And if we allow people to stay stuck, we're not serving them. Does that make sense? And so the new way is a value-based, heart-centered, and powerfully influential sales call, where you give value on the call and you use language in a way that influences people at the subconscious level. And so your prospects sell themselves to you and you effortlessly make sales. So let's have a look at the script, how we do it. If you've got your pen and pencil, jot some of this down because it is high value stuff. Firstly, you want to introduce yourself. Say why you're calling. Super important. A pre-frame is always easier than a reframe. If you tell someone you're going to show them at the end what you do, when you go to pitch, they're expecting it. If at the end you just spring surprise, this is how much it costs, straight away their brain goes into fight, flight, freeze mode, and they're not going to listen to a single word you say. Make sense? Who's ever had that? Who's ever had you think you're having a free session with someone and then suddenly they spring something on you and you get all defensive? I've had it. It feels awful. I wouldn't want anyone else to feel like that when they're talking to me. So always give them a pre-frame. Then you've got to find out where they are currently and where they want to be. And usually they're two very different places. Then you have to find the gap, which is the challenges and blocks that are stopping them. Then you've got to identify for them how much it's costing them to stay where they are, whether that's financial or emotional, because that's going to give them motivation to change. Then you give them social proof, tell them your story if you've got a relatability story, explain specifically how you'll solve their problem, ask what their commitment to change is, and this is a good one when you say, what's your commitment to change? And somebody says, oh, I'm a 7 out of 10. And then you'd say to them, well, why aren't you a 6 out of 10? And then they'll justify all the reasons of why they want to change. And they'll say, actually, I'm an 8 or 9. Where if I said to them, why aren't you a 10? They would say, they'd give me all these excuses. Does that make sense? So you justify, ask what their commitment level is. Because I only want to work with people that are committed. Because if you're not committed, you're not going to get results. Make sense? Then you close the sale. Who thinks they could do that? Yeah? Yeah? Anything pushy here? You're giving them lots of value because they're finding out what their challenges and blocks are, and that is huge. Just that is worth a lot. And then you're giving them the opportunity to work with you. So the quick recap. I want you to post niche specific content on your social media pages. You've got to learn how to write highly engaging posts and follow a system to make sure these posts are consistent across a variety of different social media platforms, in groups and other things. Then you have to use the message connection formula to inbox people on social media so you can turn any stranger or person you know into a paid client that's in your target market. Then you've got to get them on the call and you've got to learn how to sell and close those people on the phone. And you can get to 10K per month in less than 4 months without spending any money on paid ads, knowing anything about sales, social media, or tech. Now, I got there without spending anything on ads. I started spending a little bit on ads. I've got nothing from ads. All my stuff comes organically. Ads to me feel a bit like I'm flushing money down the toilet, probably a limiting belief of mine. But I also like people, I like organic because they engage more and they know you better, if that makes sense. So this is just a start. This is just one lead generation strategy. I've got heaps because like I said, multiple dams. You don't want to just go to the one fishing spot and catch all the fish there. So I also have a process to nurture my leads that aren't ready to buy yet so that as soon as they are ready, they become my first choice. But in order for that, you need to have 3 fundamental things in place. You need the right niche, the right offer, and the right messaging. Okay. So we've got 2 other lead generation strategies we're going to talk to about tonight. Who wants to know what they are? Or have you had enough? Or are you ready for bed? If you want it, write it in the chat. It's like I said, the more keen you guys are, the more I'll share. So if you want to find out, write in the chat. Brett's keen. Go Brett. Jeanette's keen. Yes. Debbie's keen. Karen's keen. Woo! Get the energy up. Get the energy up. Late at night. It's late at night. Ranjit's keen. It's late at night. Oh, cool. Let's do it. All right. So the next one is the Facebook group. So here are the numbers for a $1,500 program. So if you're charging $1,500 for your program, so you want to get 10 to 50 people to join your Facebook group a week. And from those 10 to 50 people, you should be able to book 6 to 12 calls with them, minimum. And if you're booking 6 to 12 calls, you should be able to get 2 to 4 sales, which at the very low end is 3K per week. 3K per week is 12K per month, which is pretty good. That's at the low end. At the high end, 12K. Massive. And this strategy just takes you 30 minutes a day. Okay. And now the key with a group is your group needs to tie in with your niche. Lots of people have groups, right? But they got really shitty names. They're just generic. They got shitty posts, which don't relate to anything, or shitty engagement. And they don't know how to monetize their group and they just give up on it. And you see tumbleweeds blowing down the middle. Who's been in a group like that where just it's a ghost town, nothing happens, and you think, why do they bother? I've been in plenty. Okay, so you need a niche specific group name. So my teacher group, which I made a lot of sales from, which is good, is called Teacher Wellbeing and Self-Care. Really specific. Teachers know exactly what they're coming there for. Then you need the right pre-entry questions. Then you need the right induction process, the right system for posting. You need to build a community in there. And then you need a way to post the offers so that people come out and bite. So back to our fishing metaphor, the posts can be burly. They get people stirred up. Like you chuck burley out into the water and the fish will come. And then you need the right post or the right offer to get them to bite. And then you need the right messaging system to follow that up. Just a little pro tip, when people join your group, try and get their email, and then you can put them into an automated email sequence as well. That's if you are a pro at this. Okay, so here's a couple of examples. I've got one for teachers, one for coaches. First one, I'd actually found out that boundaries were a massive pain point for teachers because I'd done the homework on my niche. And so for 2 weeks solid, I'd done all these posts bringing out the pain points about boundaries, working long hours, not spending time with your family, weaving my story into there. They were primed, and then I dropped that post. I've created a guide on how to set effective boundaries at work, giving 5 away for 12 hours only. Who wants one? Have a look at from 285 people, 38 commented on that. From 38 comments, 20 book calls. How does that sound? Sounds pretty good to me. Was pretty good to me. The next one. I've created a free mini course on how to find and fill your Facebook with your ideal client. Which coach doesn't want that? Giving 5 away only in the next 12 hours. 46 comments, 30 booked calls. And that's just from one group I posted in. So this system is gold. And if you look at that system, I'm just going to tell you just quickly a couple of things about it. First, you need to think of a good name, niche specific for your giveaway, something that's got to be perceived low time investment, but high value. Once you've worked that out, then you need to create scarcity. 5, there's a limited number, so you've got to get in quick. 12 hours only, limited time frame. So you're encouraging people to just comment on it because otherwise they'll miss out. Make sense? So they're really important aspects as well. Okay, now we've got a secret, and I'm aware I like talking. It's nearly 9 o'clock, but if you guys are happy to go on, I'm happy to keep going on. We've got a secret weapon for our lead generation. And this is lead source number 2. Do you guys want to know that? Make some noise if you want to know that. And this is one that's very underutilized. To be honest, when I was a teacher, never even heard of it. LinkedIn. Who uses LinkedIn? I know Monica does because I met Monica on LinkedIn. I know Brett does. I met Brett on LinkedIn as well. So this is how I use LinkedIn. And Debbie, oh yeah, I met you, Debbie, on LinkedIn as well. So I call this LinkedIn spearing. So if you're selling a $1,500 program, you want to be making 10 to 50 targeted connection requests a day. From those 10 to 50 targeted connection requests a day, 5 to 15 should respond to that. And I'll tell you they do, because when I first started, I didn't have LinkedIn. I started November, I would say last year, but we're a year ahead now. November 2022. The new year's throwing me. I didn't have LinkedIn. 0 people. Embarrassing. Now I've got over 2,200 on my LinkedIn through sending 10 to 50 targeted connection requests a day. 5 to 15 people accept those requests. 2 to 5 of those 5 to 15, you can get to book a call with you. And if you're making 10 to 25 calls a week, 1 out of 5 should be a sale. So those numbers can be very good if you get the systems right. So the way to do this on LinkedIn. So what do I mean by a connection request? Great question. That's where so for teachers, I would search teachers in the chat bar. I'd do the filters from Australia, and then I would send them a request to connect with a message that said, hi, you've probably seen my connection requests, and I can show you in exact detail how to do it in a sec. But hey, such and such, I see you're a teacher and doing great work. I'd love to connect. Bam, no threatening. Most people go, oh, thanks. You're like, yeah. And then you can start a genuine conversation with people. So the elements to get this happening well are niche specific again, and also making your thing professionally branded. If you look at mine, really professional profile picture, professional banner, bios sorted, it's branded. People come on my page, they know exactly what they're getting. Then my content all speaks to my niche. Yep, Debbie's got it. It speaks to my niche. And then I follow a specific sequence. I find the right targeted people, I message them, then I use the right sequence to try and book a call and get their email address, and then get them onto a sales call. And so my pro tip, I think I've already said this, is you must customize and personalize your connection requests when you add people on LinkedIn, and only send connection requests to second degree if you can help it, if your network's big enough. And so the way you do that is next slide. So in here, you can search people or you can search careers. I was searching teachers. Then I put the filters up and I did second degree when I started getting a few, because friends of friends are more likely to accept you than strangers. Make sense? And then you connect, click on the connect button there, and you click add note, and you can send a personalized message to them to connect with you. Okay. The last little system I've got is called the lead explosion system. Who's up for this one? I love this. I used to want to do this cheese chasing thing when I went to England, and then I got there and someone had snapped their leg the year before, and I thought maybe not. Who wants to hear it? Because this is one of my best ones. I'm only gonna give this out if we get lots and lots of energy. So if you type more in the chat box, give me lots of energy. Otherwise, I'm going to assume everyone's asleep. Come on, give me more, more, more. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So this is the lead explosion system. The first, and look, stuff is simple, right? People want to sell you these magic bullets like stuff's really hard or it's really special, but the good businesses do simple things really well. Okay. And once you get the simple things done, you can add all your shiny stuff on top of it. So firstly, you need to post consistently for 3 months minimum on all your major platforms of your target audience. That's finding out where your fish live and posting there. Because people will want to look on your page and see a good back catalog of your stuff. They won't want to look on and see you sharing videos about cats. Or some of the other things I see coaches doing. I see all these weird things on there and I'm like, anyway, then you've got to make sure the content's good. There's no point just posting random things. You can go into power plays and partnerships. That's where you find someone else who has a big network and do a collaboration with them, or like get on a podcast or something like that. Then you want to increase your friend count and followers on all platforms and builds trust in your brand. Because if people see you've got minimum 3 months of posting, you're not like a fly on the flyby thing. You're there, you're established. There's plenty of trust. Your follower count builds plenty of trust. Then you can announce on all your social media and all your communications that you're running a webinar or a masterclass or a free training, or do a free 3 or 5 day challenge. And those things will build huge trust with your audience because you'll give them lots of great value. How does that sound? Does that sound like a good strategy to try and at the worst, people get to see you. You get over your fear of putting yourself out there. And I can tell you my first webinar I did was crap. I thought it was all right. And my first video I posted on Instagram, horrible. But in order to do the good one, I had to do the bad one first. So then you can give out all this value and then people are trusting. They want to work with you. Okay. Like Chris. I'll tell you about Chris. Chris has worked with me and he said my adept guidance proved instrumental in helping him overcome some lingering obstacles that had hindered him and his business project. Through insightful discussions, I found and eliminated these blockages, paving the way for newfound clarity and direction. He said, what really sets me apart is I poke and prod in a way that invites the darkness to come to light, which we all need, because if we're ignoring the dark, that's usually what's stopping us getting to the next level. To not only pinpoint the challenges, but to also collaboratively devise a comprehensive step-by-step vision for the future. And the action plan I crafted was tailored to his specific needs and circumstances, providing a really clear path forwards. So Chris he was a yoga teacher. He had designed a teaching course 2 years ago and he'd never tried to sell it. So 300 hours of content, never tried to sell it. Within 2 weeks of working with me, sold 2 places in it, $7,200. How incredible is that? Okay, awesome. So this is just a start. All right. Because you've shown you're committed, I'm going to show you how you can ensure you've got the fundamentals in place. Get some access to my copy paste scripts and templates, as well as have myself or another member of my team look over your current situation and provide you with the exact next steps to take your business to success. Whether you want just a few more clients or whether you want scaling to 10K per month, whatever it is that happens, 100% certain I can help you. So I won't be asking you to pull out your credit card. It's going to be completely free, just so you know. Okay. So you got a choice to make. And this is a choice we all have to make in business. Option 1 is you try and figure it out on your own. I was very guilty of that. I tried to figure it out on my own. And guess what? It was exactly like pushing that wheelbarrow up that ramp. I wobbled and I fell off and I couldn't get up the ramp. And so I decided I needed to do option 2. And I learned a proven and tested method to grow and scale your coaching business to 10K plus without spending a dollar on paid ads. And so over the next few days, I've set aside some time to talk with you and see if we can help. We'll talk for about 45 minutes and we'll map out an exact action plan for you to follow so that you can successfully grow your coaching business just like I have. Together, we'll have a look at your current coaching business or idea. We'll break down your goals, create an exact step-by-step action plan to help you achieve your goals. And I'll also provide you with a tactical and practical strategies you can implement in your business straight away. And you might think, Why is he doing this? What's in it for him? Well, if you want to personally work with me to grow your coaching business, and if I think it's a good fit, we might invite you to become one of our clients we take on. And if that's the case, we'll walk you through what it would look like and take you through an overview of our program that's designed to get you 10 to 15 high-ticket coaching clients every month and build a mass tribe following. And I would expect your coaching business to reach 10K per month in less than 4 months if you did that. And so only 2 things will happen from this, right? Number 1, you'll love the plan and you'll implement it on your own. And if that's the case, awesome. I've helped you. And I wish you the best luck. And the only thing I ask is just keep in touch to let me know how you're doing. Okay, so that's one of the things that will happen. Or number 2, you'll love the plan and you'll ask to become my client so I can personally help you execute, maximize, and profit from it ASAP. Either way, I'm happy because I've helped you. And if you go with number 2, we'll crush it. And that's a promise because every single one of my clients gets results, every single one. And it's that simple. There's no catch. Okay. So if you want this, you can take do you guys know how to use the QR codes? You can use the QR code there. It'll give you access to my calendar. What I can also do is I can drop the link in the chat so you can book that 45-minute call. And remember, I've got limited ones. So if you want to get in, there's the link. There's the link. And so you can click on that. You can tap it in your address bar. And I've put aside my whole calendar day tomorrow to help. And I've also got some time on Monday as well. So if you're keen, normally I charge $297 for that. Happy to do it because you guys have shown real commitment. The other thing is I've got a free Facebook group as well if you're keen to join that. It's called the 10K per month Coaches Blueprint. Once again, you can use the QR code for that. A few of you are already in there, which is great. I hope you're getting lots of value. Let me see if I can work out how to chuck the code in there for that. If you're keen, be great to have you there because like I said, the more people we can get in there, the more we can share ideas and value with each other and help more people. And it's almost time for Q&A. So if you've got a question, pop it in the chat box, but I'll answer some common questions I get. Question number 1, what if I don't know my niche? Well, that's cool because on this call, we'll give you clear direction and clarity on that. We can go through in real detail and find that out. Thanks, Debbie. Been a pleasure. Hope you've got lots of value. What about this one? I want to be a coach and I have no experience being a coach. Will this help you? Yes, it will, because I can point you in the right direction if you need it. And so I've helped a number of coaches who are just starting out and want to learn the skills as well as how to grow their business. And I've got a special product for that. So if you're interested, we can help out that way if you need. What if I'm a coach not earning 5K per month? Will this work? And that's a great question because many of our starting coaches ask me the same thing. And the truth is, see, Karen, thank you. This is the first course I'd recommend for anyone starting out because what's most important is to get your direction right. You've got to be clear on your niche from the beginning, your programs and your offering from the beginning, because everything you do in your coaching business builds on that. And the foundation must be laid right before you can stack the bricks of the sales and marketing, the social media strategy and product delivery. You've got to build your brand first on getting your niche right. So would work for that. If you're already earning 5 to 20K per month, yep. These systems we teach are designed to get you to 50K. So once you get to 50K, then if you need to, we can show you further strategies from there. And how is it possible? I get this asked a lot. How is this possible? Well, for starters, it's a system. And if you follow it, this is the results it produces. So I like to reverse engineer my goals. So for example, if you were selling one-to-one coaching at $2,000 per program, you'd have to sell 4 per month. Right? Makes sense? So if you're selling 4 per month, that's 1 a week. And if you're closing 1 out of 4 sales, you'd need to book 24 calls a month. which is about one sales call a day. And our lead generation systems have easily done that for us. And I've got students that have produced similar results. And it's the same as if you're selling one to many. It's just you're leveraging your coaching time better. Does that make sense? Okay. I had this question before, should I hire a copyright? I always say no, but if you want your business to scale eventually, then you could. Most people don't ever get to one to many because they have limiting beliefs about their ability to create breakthroughs as a result. But yeah, I if you're telling your story, people are going to buy you rather than the copywriter, and you can learn those skills, and then you've got those skills for the rest of your life. So highly valued skills. Website, should you pay someone to build website and ads? I believe in getting the organic stuff right first, because if you are just paying someone to build your website, how are you getting traffic to it? How are you creating leads to get there? Or if you're doing ads, how do you know you're hitting the mark? How are you finding your right people? You're not going to get results unless you are clear on who your target market is and you have all that stuff set up. I'm not a coach. I have a different type of business. Will I still get value? Yep. Like I said before, I helped Chris, who's a yoga teacher. I've helped lots of other people in different industries, copywriters. I've helped other lead generation coaches. I've helped funnel builders. I've helped website designers. I've helped lots of people because these skills work for lots of different businesses. Cool. I'm not a coach, want to get trained or qualified. If you do that, um, this call will help as well because it'll help you get really clear on what you need as well. Um, they're my common questions. Does anyone have any other questions they'd like to add in the chat? Just before we go, can you write in the chat what your biggest takeaway from tonight was? What was one thing you learned or one thing you're going to implement straight after this call? Because I'd love to hear that. And it helps me work out what's on the mark for my next trainings. So if you'd write in the chat one thing you learned, one thing you got out of this, that would be amazing. Yeah, organic messaging, 100%, 100%. Direction and connection. Yep. Thanks, Brett. Appreciate that. It's so easy if you don't have a direction to just not know where you're going. I almost think it's like floating down the creek in your kayak and wondering how you washed up on this bank. You kind of just taken somewhere and you think, shit, how did I get here? The sales script, yeah. That was a big one for me. I didn't know how to sell my package. Yeah, reverse engineering. I love that, Monica. I'd never done that either. So that was huge for me. And remember, don't forget to book that call if you want. And those people who type success before, I'll reach out to you after the training and we can chat, which would be awesome. Cool. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure serving you tonight. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night. And if you want to DM me straight after, we can get in touch. If you're interested in booking a call, we can get in touch and sort that out. But thank you very much for your energy tonight. It's been great. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys blow up your coaching businesses and get huge success. Can't wait. So thank you very much and take care.
So